Hi, this is my first time making a video tutorial, so please bear with me if I'm awkward. I'm going to show you my process for ripping Project Sekai models using Blender. And first of all, I'm going to show all of the software and stuff that I'm using. I'm using the file host pjsec.i. I'm using Asset Studio to open the files from pjsec.i. The version of Blender that I'm using is 3.6.1, which is going to get relevant later. For plugins, I have Cats, which Cats is struggling a bit with their development right now, and the main branch doesn't work. I had to download the development version to get it to work in the version of Blender that I'm using. MMD tools. I have the Unya fork, which is the latest version still in development, but the PowerP fork that came before it should also work for this tutorial because I don't think I'm using any of the features that are unique to the Unya fork. I'm using, this is the latest version of PMXE editor in English that you'll find, and it came with some plugins. I also downloaded Legto IK Generator, a plugin by John with Lemon, who made the PMX editor. You can download both of these off of his DeviantArt page. Now, I'm going to show you how to make these models compatible with Shadekai, and if you know about ripping these models, you might think it's only possible using Gnosis, but this video is kind of just to show that it is in fact possible to use Blender. So this is the model that I'm going to rip because it's cute and also it doesn't have a whole lot of physics parts. Physics is beyond the scope of this tutorial, basically just because I had to draw the line somewhere. And I'm gonna go over to pjsec.i and I'm gonna find her head first. So every character has a number, and Nene is 15. And these are all gonna be different head models. 0 is the default, and all the other ones have hairstyles and unique accessories that only she can wear because they're modeled right onto her head. And A, B, and C, that's all of her other costumes, other color schemes. So this is the Japanese wiki for Project Sekai. Costumes. Now I'm gonna find on page Nene's name. And it looks like the costume that I want to rip is the 4th most recent Nene costume that got put out, probably with, yeah, they all have unique accessories. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that looks like the accessory that she's wearing. So that means that this is the correct folder for her face. And this is how you download files. Deselect. Deselect again. Version is going to be this right here. Paste, hit enter. File is downloading. Now, this number here, if you go into character, body, these are all the default costumes for the other characters. 99 is where the other costumes are. That's the same number. Nene wears a lady's small. Grab this. Paste it there. And now we have our files downloaded. Okay, now I'm in Asset Studio. I'm gonna load one of the files from my downloads. And I got an error, which means that I have to grab the version number. Have to check this and go into Asset List. All that I really need from here is the mesh and all of the 2D textures. And then I'm gonna go to Model, Export all, Selected Object Split. Just repeat that for the body. All of the other stuff, if I were loading this into Unity, it might be able to read it, but Blender can't do much with it, and so cannot MMD. Now I'm in Blender, and I'm going to import the body first. Here in Armature, it should say automatic bone orientation, so that the bones are pointing in the correct direction. It's really small, so I'm gonna size it up by 150. And in the shading settings, set it to flat and texture. Makes it look a lot more like MMD. There's a bunch of empties, I think they're called. I'm gonna shift select this one and Alt P, clear and keep transformation, and then delete that. Delete everything else that is an empty also. And in the viewport settings for this armature here, gonna viewport display in front, display as wire. Makes it a lot easier to see. I'm gonna hit A to select everything and then move things G along C so that they're a little more lined up. G along Y. And once you do a transformation like that, you always have to, with everything selected, go into Object, Apply All Transforms. Now edit the bones. This right here can be rotated 180 degrees. And the head down to about there. I'm gonna keep it between those leg bones for now, even though different MMD motions are gonna expect it to be in different places. Delete some bones that are not holding any weight and which I don't need. If you've got physics on your model, then you're gonna have offset bones. These are offset bones. No, that's an offset bone. Now, and open This is how we're gonna delete bones that are holding weight. So the arm roll bones, I'm gonna select all of them. No. This one's hard. Yeah, that's about it. And merge bones to parent, and that's exactly what I want to do. I can show you if I open the model, go into weight paint, now the arm weight looks a lot better. And it'll, I think, be easier to run semi-standard bones. Now's good enough time to import the head. It's small again, so scale it up by 150. It's sideways, and I don't know why, but we can fix that easy enough. Why is the... Oh no. So I just encountered a very interesting error with this UV model. What I did is I opened the UV editor with what used to be down here. And now I think what I'm gonna have to do is shift along X. No, 2D cursor. Shift along X. This is hard to eyeball. Shift along X until that looks just about perfect. Yeah, gee, I wonder why that happened. There's another empty. Now's a good time to rename things. Now, the head has to be rotated in object mode or else it's going to break the shape keys. I tried doing it in edit mode and I broke the shape keys. Apply transformation every single time. Change the viewport settings again for the yeah. Hide the body. Physics change means that we've got offset bones. I can't delete that empty, but I guess it can stay. Probably. Hopefully. Jeez. This chest bone doesn't need to be there. And the end bones, because we have it'll load into MMD with the correct offset value. Now that we're ready to put the head on the body, edit mode with the body's armature selected. Select that and put the cursor there. Object mode. Select the head, armature, and mesh. Now it deleted. Okay. Armature and mesh. And selection to cursor. And I have to apply the transform again. And merge the head to the body. So what I'm gonna do is in the body's armature, I'm gonna delete these bones, which won't delete the weight because the weight is stored as a vertex group, and when we merge them, the vertex groups with the same names are merged, and the bone will move the vertex group of the same name. So select both of these armatures. No, that's the both of those armatures, and the active one is the body. Control P. No, Control J. And Control J with the meshes also. If I go into armature mode, pose mode, it moves that correctly, but I should also remember to parent neck to chest. Now that the head and the body are joined, I can select everything, and I'm gonna size up this model to match Nene's cannon height, which is 156 centimeters. I've got dimensions down here, and the z-axis, I'm just gonna size everything up until it says 156. There. By the way, you've probably noticed at this point that the body's mesh the color doesn't match the face, and that's actually a problem that we're gonna fix in Shadekai, unless you don't want to use Shadekai, in which case I guess it would entail changing the texture. Okay, now it's time for me to explain the tricky part where I really have to explain what I'm doing. If I go into change this to attribute, you'll see that this model has vertex colors, and the way that rips with vertex colors, they have to be imported because these control things like line width on the 3D models as they're displayed in the game. The way that rips are usually handled is that these colors can kind of be converted into a UV map, which is the additional UV, and I'm gonna convert the colors into a UV map. You'll notice that all of the colors on this model are just combinations of red and green. The only blue is on the eyebrows. I just wanted to make note of that. I'm gonna go into the geometry node setup and change the viewport again. And select that mesh. You might sort of be familiar with this spreadsheet display because PMX editor likes to display some things, and it takes very long to load. Attribute face corner is where we're gonna have this attribute right here. If I go into data, color attributes, this is how Blender nowadays handles vertex colors. is it's called a color attribute, and I'm gonna change that name to color. Makes this whole process a little easier. Another thing that I'm gonna do is go back into the regular layout. I have to make some new UV maps. So UV1 is not going to be used for anything at all, but I think that the order that they're created controls what slot they go into, and we have to make sure that our colors go into UV slot 2, additional UV2, and edit mode. And I'm going to select everything here too, and with the transform set to 2D cursor and the 2D cursor where it is, I'm just gonna scale to 0. Now if I go into geometry nodes, instead of being a copy of the previous UV, all the values are zeroed, and I'm gonna create a new geometry node tree, which adds a modifier, because that's what geometry nodes is. I'm gonna add a node because we need a node to import the color. Next, I'm gonna add this RGB curves. And lastly, store named attribute, and that connects to that noodle actually. This has to be set to 2D vector and face corner before set to that, because that's how we're gonna export everything. Okay, now you can see that the values have changed, but we have to tweak it. The green channel has to be inverted. Don't ask me why, it just does. I suspect it might be just a weird quirk of MMD tools. Now, I'm gonna go back into edit mode, find a vertex that has this gross color, which is made from half red and half green. Set this to show selected only. I have to change this until that's about as close to 50 as I can make it be. There. And do the same thing on green. There. And when I apply, I'm gonna delete the armature model. When I apply this modifier, which I have to do in object mode, fuck. So I forgot about one other add-on that I need, which is for applying modifiers to an object with shape keys. And now the UV map should look like this, which is to say dots all over the place along the sides. And that means that we're pretty much good to go into the MMD tools make sure that the armature is actively selected and convert. This value here is fine. And now I can export this, and we have a bit of work left to do. I never A-pose this because I figured I would just make versions of these models where one is left in the original T-pose. Okay, you know what I forgot to do earlier is I think I should point the hip bone downward. Shit. 3D cursor. R180. So my workflow definitely involves using PMX editor as little as possible because I don't like it so much, but there's a couple things left to do over here. So this should be white, this should be black, and this should be 75% gray on all the materials. I think different people use different values, but I haven't experimented much with it. Everything here except for position offset should be not movement enabled. And now I'm going to change the names of the bones. Where is it again? Batch name editor. So I have a list that I'm gonna copy paste. It's pretty easy to write a list when you know what the bone you need to have start with is how you need to change it. Okay, go. Yes. And repeat the process for the morphs. And now I can run the semi-standard bones plugin. Second upper body bone we don't need. I think that's okay. And edit some things, so the twist bones should be pointing at their children. This isn't so important when the model is T-posed, but I like to do it anyway. Make sure they're pointed at the children and local axis is enabled. Especially in A pose, that means that they twist correctly. And very important, very, very important, upper body bone parented to the waist bone. Now I can run the leg to eye K generator so that I don't have to do this by hand. Let's see now if I play motion. That's a T-posed motion, so we can check to make sure that Everything's moving as it should. Looks good. One last edit I have to make is to the add UV. So this looks good right here. The blue values, though, haven't been imported correctly, because I'm not totally sure if that's doable with MMD tools. So I'm just gonna color these eyebrows. I fucked up the recording on the making the eyebrows blue, but basically what I did, I had vertex selected. I opened the... not that one. I opened the UV editor plugin. Selected these eyebrow vertices here, just selected in 3D view. And I had to go into vertex, show faces, and then face truncate. That allowed me to split the eyebrows onto their own material, and then weight, set it to UV, made sure that was deselected, made sure this was selected to UV2, hit start, then import, enter your UV values. That right there makes it blue. Paint over that and that. The other thing that I did was these blue and alpha values were not imported. So if I had it set to addition, and then I could just paint over everything with it set to addition and only alpha set to 1. I don't know if it makes a difference, but just in case, because I did notice when I imported models using Gnosis, the alpha was always set to 1. So in order to get Shadekai working, this is the folder where I've got the PMX file, and this is the folder where I keep Shadekai stuff. I'm going to select these files and copy them into here. And I'm also going to make sure that all of the texture files are in this folder. And object has to be duplicated for however many materials you have. I should go in and so rename body. Rename it to face. And I have to copy it one last time. No, yes I do. No, I don't, actually. Body and face. It's a matter of which texture file is used. So go into body, define character, 14, because that's Nene, and this has to be changed. So for the body, one ending in H, and the one ending in S. Just repeat that for this. Hit save. Now I'm gonna open up MMD and finish setting everything up. Load the model. MME effect. No, not that. Mapping. Subset extract so that we can see all of the materials. Set the effect. This is the body. These two are the face. And now, as we can see, the skin tone is correct. And that's just about it.